Hey, hey, Happy New Year, everyone. It's a new year, it's a new rabbit hole. Rabbit hole reactions with John and Ed. How are you, Ed?
I'm very good, thanks. Happy New Year, everyone. New Year's,
Come
new
on, Ed, a
rabbit
bit.
holes.
Come on, Ed, wind it up, mate. A bit more enthusiasm.
What up? I'm trying. It's Thursday. It's like the second week in January. You're expecting me to be all happy and lively.
Yeah,
Give
yeah,
me a little bit.
get it
Once I
going.
get a little bit further through this wine, I shall I'll be a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
So, questions have been
But
asked, Ed. I don't know if you saw the opening video, right? With the gull, the
I'm
seagull.
not sure if I've seen that one. Has Ben sent me that one?
Oh, it
I
doesn't
didn't
matter,
watch
but
it.
we had a flying seagull with another seagull on its back standing there.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah, no, I've seen that one.
Now
There
the
was also a
question.
moody gull that someone sent me today with a seagull gazing out to sea, looking
Oh
very
yeah,
philosophical.
pensive. Yeah, the pensive gull. So the question is though, have you had anything to do with training that gull? Is that one of your goals? I mean, the
No,
the world is asking. Are
uh,
you a secret seagull mastermind plotting to take
absolutely
over the world?
no. I'm not. I know I'm not a seagull whisperer or anything like that. I'm not sure. I think seagulls, if anything, the seagulls have trained me rather than the other way around. I'm just a dumb monkey that gives them food.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. So let's have a quick look. We've got loads of people in the chat. We've got Emma, we've got Spencer, Shalini, Bada 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 Bun Bada Ba or whatever. Bex.
Oh, hey
Um,
Bex, I know her. She's cool.
cool. Dread Eyed Julie, obviously. Boom. Who else? That's about it just now. Excellent. That's good. No, there's
I can actually
obviously.
see the chat tonight for a change.
Yeah, that's cool. We've got 15 people on already. That's fantastic. So, more the merrier. Bring your friends.
Welcome, everybody. It's nice. It's good to be back on. I missed it.
Yeah, yeah. So the last time we did one of these, and the first and last time we did one of these, where we just talked about stuff was just before the Christmas break,
Mm.
and we had a chat about what was the last thing, the Vimanas or something like that.
Yeah, no, that was Vimanas and that
Yeah,
crazy rock thing in America. That stone. What is it? Not the alien artifact, but someone trying to Ridley Scott the hell out of everybody. No, not Ridley Scott. Who's the other one? The moon landings guy.
Kubrick.
Kubrick. Yeah, that's it. They were trying to Kubrick the hell out of everybody with that thing. But we
Yeah.
got some fun stuff to talk about tonight too.
Yeah, we do. We've got the last it wasn't really a rabbit hole. It's kind of like a true story thing. But the last thing we did was yesterday, and was it yesterday? Yeah, the mission to the rescue mission to Nome, Alaska. So Nome, Alaska's in 1925. It was a small town right on the outskirts of kind of Western Peninsula near the Bering Sea, and it gets cut off every winter because one, it's in the middle of nowhere. Two, I don't think there's any real roads go to it. So it was
There
only
aren't a huge number of
no,
roads in Alaska. I
no,
mean, I'm a huge fan of shows like Life Below Zero and Mountain Men and Alaskan Bush People, although they got a bit weird.
I thought you were going to say
But Life,
Northern Exposure.
I kind of watched that. My real favorite one was Life Below Zero, which
Mm.
yeah basically tracks. It's sort of reality TV type thing, but it tracks different families and
Yeah.
different homesteads in Alaska, and there's some of them. There's a couple of them that are kind of native Inuit people, and then there's a couple that are kind of American settlers and stuff. And I mean, Alaska, it's kind of
Well,
it's
it's
sort of the
massive.
last remaining wilderness in a way.
But yeah,
It's a place where you can still go and set up a homestead and live off the land and be live as people largely would have done during the 1920s when the Serum Run happened.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
mean,
that,
obviously they got sat phones and airplanes and stuff now, but I mean, in terms of road, even to this day, a lot of the people who live in really remote parts of Alaska, they use those little bush planes. And Alaska actually has, I think it has the most aircraft accidents of anywhere in the world, because so many people have little single engine Cessnas and Piper Cubs and those sort of little bush planes with either skis or big ass wheels on them and stuff like that. And it's so Alaska, I mean, even to this day, it's very remote, and Nome is not right up until 2024. I mean, because the Serum Run was roughly 100 years ago now.
Yeah, 99 years ago. Yeah.
And I mean, obviously Nome is now a city, but I can't imagine it's the biggest of big cities.
It's not, and I actually got hit by a big storm fairly recently, and some of it just disappeared. You just wait, because a lot of the stuff on the beaches, a lot of the smoking huts that they have on the beaches for the and when I say smoking, it's not for smoking materials, it's for smoking fish. It's not for fish to go in and have a
They have
smoke.
other huts for the smoking materials.
Yeah.
The other one that they've got, I'm not sure if you've seen them, is they have fish wheels that particularly on the Yukon River, every year you have the salmon runs, and they have different types of salmon. So you have the king salmon and the sockeye salmon, and the prized one is the king salmon.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they're still allowed. But the Alaskan natives, they're allowed to catch a certain amount of king salmon for personal use. It's the same way that Inuit are allowed to hunt seals for personal use, and they're allowed to, I think each Inuit is allowed to shoot one seal a year or something, because the Inuit use seal oil.
Yeah.
For so a lot of the food that they eat is frozen, and the seal oil adds a huge amount of nutrition to the protein. But they have these wheels. It's literally like it's almost a bit like a water wheel, but it's not connected to anything, and it literally just spins in the river and just scoops fish up and pops them into these buckets, and then the guys come. They'll just take it out at the start of the season, leave it there, and then they go back once a day to empty it out. And those things, if there's a good salmon run, they're just machines.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's all just constructed out of wood. Quite often those things are homemade and stuff. I mean, they're very hardy people.
Yeah, and the well, as I was saying, so half those shacks and things all got wiped away, and people's houses that they lived in got wiped away, and you know, I don't think you can get insurance and stuff like that up there because it just happens so often. So I think there was a big drive to help support them and stuff like that. But anyway, to go back to the 1925s, diphtheria. Now, I think it was yourself, Ed, that said you would have thought that was a tropical disease, wouldn't you?
Well, it's sort of bacterial. Well, it's caused by bacteria, but it's not caused by the bacteria itself. It's caused by a toxin excreted by the bacteria.
Oh, you've watched the actual video then, have you? Because I think I did explain that.
Yes, you did explain it. I thought it was a really good video.
Thank you.
And I kind of forgot. I actually got a little bit choked up when you were talking about the two dogs that died. On the river. And I mean, obviously I've seen the movie Togo with what's his face?
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, that's it, Willem Dafoe. Yeah. And I mean, I was gratified to hear that the live action film followed the story quite closely.
Yeah, it was much better.
Very much. I mean, it's a brilliant film. It's a great winter's evening sort of movie. And I mean, what a story! It's just the
674 miles in less than 6 days.
And I mean, it was kind of bad that one guy got all the credit for it.
The last guy gets all the credit.
Yeah, it's Leonard Sepala
and
his dog Togo.
He was mad. He was mad.
Yeah, there was Gunnar Carlson and his lead dog Balto.
Yeah, it was them that got the credit.
And the poor dog's got.
I know. even Togo. I suppose Togo got put out the stud. Pardon me.
Yeah, they probably both got put out to stud before.
No, I mean
the inevitable end.
No, but Balto didn't, because Balto went on tour with Gunnar, right? And he was only on tour for a short time around the vaudeville circuit, and then he worked for Leonard. So Leonard called him back to Nome, and Gunnar didn't have enough money to bring the dogs back with him, so he sold the dogs to the vaudeville circuit, and that was where they were rescued and taken in by the zoo.
Yeah.
And then, of course, what an ignominious ending for these two hero dogs. I mean, okay, regardless of whether Balto was a hero or not, who cares? In fact, they were all heroes, every one of them that did it. But Balto and Togo both end up stuffed and on display.
It is. I mean, that's hardly resting in peace. I mean, when I go, are you and Ben gonna stuff me and use me as a prop for the show?
I think I'll be first, mate. I think I'll be first.
I mean, there's something about the poor, and I mean, considering what those dogs did, and I mean, even today, because the Iditarod is still run. Actually, one of the guys who features in Life Below Zero is called Jesse something or other. I can't remember his surname, but he's actually a racer in the Iditarod.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he lived in the lower 48, as the Alaskans say.
And it's at the Iditarod headquarters where Togo is.
Yeah. Oh, was it Balto or Togo? One of them ended up stuffed in the Iditarod headquarters.
That's Togo. Yeah. It's Togo that's in Iditarod, and Balto's still at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo.
But I think that the Iditarod's actually about 1,000 miles. I mean, it's an absolutely insane race, and I mean, this guy.
Well, it's based on this.
Jesse. Yeah, I mean, from Life Below Zero. I mean, he actually moved up to Alaska, discovered mushing, and his whole life revolves around his dogs. He's got a massive kennel, and he's literally, when he's not, the periods that he's not training for the Iditarod, he's looking after his dogs and building his homestead and stuff. And his whole setup, I mean, he's got this really cool truck that's got the kind of kennels for the dogs on the back and stuff. And I mean, have you ever done it? Have you ever been? I'm not
have you ever
done? Person.
Have you ever done mushing? I've done it. I've driven a dog team, Huskies in Canada. It's freaking brilliant fun. You stand.
I'm sure it is.
You stand on the back and you go, quick, and off they go. So yeah, that was a good experience. We spent like half a day there, and then the other half a day snowmobiling. Snowmobiling's great fun as well. But the dogs are fantastic. It was really good, really fun. We went off.
I mean, those like the Huskies and the Malamutes, they're absolutely amazing.
Oh
dogs.
Yeah, the dogs are nuts though. The dogs are like hyper all the time, you know.
And they genuinely enjoy it when you actually see them. It's like following this guy on Life Below Zero, and you see how much he loves the dogs and how much the dogs absolutely love him and love racing. And you put them in their harness and they just want to run. And and also being able to survive those sort of temperatures. I mean, there's not. Yeah, but I mean, there's few enough animals that survive those temperatures, let alone
thrive in them.
Across the bloody wilderness, dragging a sled.
But think of see, this is the one thing I don't like about the Iditarod is that they've changed the dogs in some respects, because a lot of these people have been trying to go for speed. So they're crossing the dogs with things like greyhounds and stuff like that to try and get more speed out of the dog. But I don't like that. And you see them and some of these dogs look really scrawny, but I like to see the Malamutes and the Huskies, you know, because they look like they should be pulling sleds, not mongrel greyhounds, you know?
Yeah, the people need to. Why can't humans just leave things the hell alone?
Because we don't. We just don't, do we?
It's aggravating. It's really aggravating.
Yeah. But anyway, they got there with the serum, despite all the trials and tribulations they had to go through, and they saved the day. Yeah, well done. Great job.
Completely motivated just by, I mean, because they weren't paid a huge amount of money.
$35, I think they got.
Yeah, and I mean, most of them got no recognition for it at all. And they gave it their all. And I mean, the dogs were running up to 100 miles non-stop, which is phenomenal.
Well,
I mean, that's
actually
4 marathons put together.
Yeah, but think of what's his name's team, Togo, right? Because Leonard, he left Nome to go to Nolato, and that was like 170 miles. And then when he picked up the package, you know, slightly before Nolato, he still had another 91 miles. Those dogs must have ran nearly 200 miles with hardly a break, you know.
And I mean, it was brutally cold as well, like minus
Oh.
50 Fahrenheit.
No,
well.
it started at minus 65 and then it was minus 89 because a storm came in. It was mental. Minus 89 Fahrenheit.
I mean, I don't know what minus 89 is in Celsius.
Well, let's find out.
Very cold.
It's not hard. We have the tools at our disposal.
And the other thing to bear in mind is that because it was done in winter, and it's Alaska, they would have had maybe 3 or 4 hours of daylight.
Oh, it was nearly all pitch black. Minus 67 Celsius. Minus 67. Oh,
absolutely. So you're basically hoofing it with a sled team.
Yeah.
In minus 60 degrees of cold, and you've got these very fragile glass bottles that they can't freeze, they can't break. You've got an entire town of people that are gonna die without you getting the serum to them.
Yeah.
And it's one of those brilliant moments for humanity where everybody kind of comes together. People need to do what needs to be done, and they save a whole bunch of lives. And it's they say that people are at their best in adversity, and things like the serum run kind of prove that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it does. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
It's also quite unique as well, because I haven't heard of any other similar sorts of stories where you've got this life-threatening emergency and the journey to save all of those people is as crazy as this one. I don't think there's anything else that even comes close.
Yeah, I know. It was pretty cool. Right, so people, a couple of questions. One, I've got a different camera on. Do you like it or not? So it's a bit brighter and it's probably more true to colour. The other one was very flattering though. I didn't like the other one. But I think it shows you more of, it gives you a different background here and it's quite interesting. Secondly, how's Ed's audio? Because it seemed as if it was coming in quite hot here. I did turn them down a little bit, so if that's good.
I don't see anyone complaining about me in the chat. So
no, they haven't complained at all, and normally they're the first to complain. Spencer says his audio is great. Yep, that's fantastic, excellent, and they like the camera. So there we go. It's a win-win all round. And do you like our new frames that Adam did for us? Finished them off today. So that's I think that's quite nice as well. So thank you, Adam. Even though I don't hear you there.
Still looking good.
Right.
Nice intro. We're getting all professional.
Yeah, I know. We're getting there. Mate. I think I'm going to do the Miami-Dade shootout next, which is
cool.
I was doing some more research on it this afternoon, which is good. I had a little nap this afternoon as well because I was up this morning at 5:30, 6 o'clock because I was on Dean Mackin's show on TNT Radio.
Those early morning shows.
Well, he's Australian, so it's a fine for him. He's 6 to 7 or at night or something like that. But you know, it brings us up at. There's a whole 12-hour difference or 13-hour difference between us.
It's like Sonia Poulton doing her morning show. I don't know how people can be that chirpy that early in the morning. I'm at that sort of time. I'm literally, if you get a kind word out of me, you're lucky.
It's caffeine, mate. Caffeine does the job. That's what does it for me. I had two.
Caffeine just makes me hyper.
Yeah, well, I had 2 coffees, and I was on what's his name, Rick Munn's show. Rick Munn and Natalie Cheal. I was on their show on Tuesday morning. And that was early-ish, but that was 9:20 or something like that. And Ben's on tomorrow morning at 9:40 on Natalie and Rick's show. So I gave them a whole information overload.
As you do. But I mean, people in this community of ours are probably used to it because everyone is researching things and we're all finding things out, and sometimes it's something that other people know about, and sometimes not a lot of people know about it. And
Yeah.
it's that process of knowledge discovery is quite exciting. And then once you get into that headspace where you feel like you've solved something, or not solved something, but you've come to understand something that you didn't understand, and you've sort of fitted it as best you can into the overall puzzle. And it's a process that you want to share with people. And in the case of normies, I've had that so many times. I mean, for me, it started around 9/11 when I was like looking at those towers coming down and going, no way. No,
Well, you know
this
what? I
does
wasn't.
not compute.
When I was in San Diego when it happened, and I woke up that morning ready to go to Mexico. So I was lying in bed in San Diego in a hotel, turned on the telly, and saw a plane hit the Twin Towers, and I thought, what the? And then I thought, I'm not going to Mexico today. Because if we'd gone to Mexico, we'd never get back in. So yeah, it was mental. And then went downstairs, and there was the hotel had this huge Microsoft conference going on, and everybody was just standing in the lobby looking at the pictures, and that was like most of the day. And eventually, we just went to the zoo, and the zoo was probably about a third of the people there that would normally have been there. But everybody pulled together, as the country had pulled together, and everybody was talking to you, and it was really actually, and I hate to say it, but it was quite a different experience because people were genuinely shocked, and I think it rocked them to their core, and they all became pretty nice, you know.
We had that for a few days afterwards. It was an event that brought the whole world together.
Yeah.
And it was only because of the subsequent actions of the US government that completely squandered it, because the whole point of that event wasn't to bring people together. It was to shatter the world asunder.
And the US government achieved that, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those it's one of those moments that could have gone two ways. You could have actually had some serious peace break out in the world, but that was never their plan, as we can see.
Yeah.
As we've seen in the 20-odd years since.
I know. And I hate it when people say that was never the plan, because in a lot of times, I think, 9/11's a weird one, isn't it? Because it could have we done 9/11? Yeah, we have.
It was one of the first ones.
Yeah, it was.
In fact, I think it was our first rabbit hole.
See, it's like, I've got to think it was a false flag, yeah. I've got to think it was a false flag.
I mean, I'm not sure exactly what happened or who did it. I just know that the official story is nonsense, and I've heard all sorts of different theories. All of them make more sense than the official one.
You know, the one that doesn't make any sense?
Which one?
Is the floors pancaking down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
there's just no.
I mean, you've got engineers on saying, no, that couldn't happen the way that they're talking about.
Not just that, where are the floors? I mean, if the floors all pancake down, where are they?
Oh.
Where's all the computer equipment?
Yeah.
Where's all the...
Well, exactly. But the other thing, Ed, is like you saw it on TV, right? You could sit there with a watch and you could time it. And it was 110 floors, and it came down in something like 11 seconds. That's free fall, yeah. So there's no way that pancaked, because if it pancaked, it'd have come down a lot slower than that.
Yeah, there's no. It's a crazy one, and there's a lot of, but we've had a lot of crazy things happen since. But nothing changed the world as much as 9/11.
Yeah, I don't think it did. I mean, even JFK, I don't think changed the world as much as 9/11.
I think at the time, I think if we're looking at significant events, JFK's assassination and 9/11, they're if you put them into their historical context,
Yeah.
then yeah, they're because I
They're on
mean
a
the
par for the
assassination of
day. Yeah.
JFK
Yeah.
impacted the whole world in the
Yeah.
same way. I mean,
It did.
everybody of that generation on the planet knows what they were doing the day that Kennedy was killed,
Well,
and
I
in the
don't.
same way that everybody of our generation knows what they were doing the day that the Twin Towers came down.
Yeah. When was Kennedy killed? Was it 63?
Yeah, it's November the 23rd. I've got 23 in my head, but that might be wrong. But yeah, I think it was 1960.
Yeah. Well, oh, Ed's had a little pause. Sometimes that happens with Ed and his shonky East Southern Coast internet. But hopefully he'll be. Oh, he's back. There you go. We had a little pause there, Ed. Oh, you've gone again. Ed's frozen. He's gone again. Come back, Ed. All is forgiven. We love you. Yeah, he's definitely gone this time.
I know, I had a network issue. I'm back.
All right, he's back.
Now I've got two of you. But I don't know what happened because my network was fine.
Right, hold on.
Weird.
There we go. Right now, how do we get rid of this third one? I need to get rid of this second guy. That's not good.
Yeah, there's always gremlins, Shalini. That's the nature of tech for you. Networking is very much like voodoo, so. And I might be head to techie, but don't ask me about networks. What are you doing, John?
I'm trying to get. So you're a screen capture, but I've got two Eds and I've got the wrong one.
Do you want me to disconnect and reconnect to the meeting?
Yeah, go on. Don't know what the hell's that. Come on, Ed. Ah, that's better. That's better. Now you get huge me. But Ed will replace that when he comes back, hopefully.
Hello.
Right, now we're getting Ed's TV. That's fine. That's good. I can work with that.
Cool.
There we go. We've got Ed back.
Hey, I'm back.
Yeah, we've only lost 50% of our audience. No, we didn't. I'm only kidding.
Thank you, Shalini. Yeah, the gulls are. I just don't like them in the summer because they get up too early. I've grown to appreciate winter and dark evenings because the gulls don't bother me until about 8 o'clock and 7:30, and they're gone by about 4 o'clock because they go to bed with the sun. So I don't have them tapping away at my window endlessly.
Yeah. Right, so I think we've covered the gnome thing. Well, I suppose the other thing that I was wanting to talk about is I didn't realise that Alaskan Malamutes were so big.
They're huge.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Aren't they really?
Yeah, I mean they're on a par with the wolfhounds.
Or Newfoundlands even, about that size. Because they look ginormous when you see some of those old pictures.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely massive, and I mean they're still because they crossbreed them because that's what people do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just seen Spencer, that background. That's actually me doing a decompression stop when I was doing my tech training. And the fish over the front of it are just a screensaver. And for anyone that's interested, the screensaver is called Dream Aquarium.
Lovely.
And if you have a big TV connected to a computer, it'll do a super realistic 4K fish tank. And it's much, much, much simpler than having real fish.
yeah, you don't want real fish. Pain in the butt, especially marine fish are a nightmare to keep.
Yeah, the saltwater ones because you got to keep the tank clean and
absolute nightmare.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
so
chemicals have got to be right and all that. It's just Anyway,
yeah.
Right. Okay. So I've got a little video that I'm going to show. So bear with me. You should be able to hear it. I don't know if you can. Are you watching YouTube as well, Ed? So you'll be able to see it that way.
Yeah, I'll put it on.
Right. Okay. Here we go. That was the police cars outside the Bayswater Mall in Miami.
I didn't see it on the YouTube feed.
Okay. Did anyone see it? Interesting. Should have seen it. It looked like it came up here. How far behind are you?
No. Oh no, actually I wasn't on live. No, it probably did come up.
You plonker.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm
Right. Okay. So that was the scene outside the Bayswater Mall, and I did a quick count, and I reckoned there was something like 40 police cars or something there, which is quite a lot, right? But the Miami Police Department said that there was effectively a riot of some 50 odd kids with sticks and weapons, looting shops, attacking each other, attacking security and all that. And they called a citywide response. So basically every free car would go.
I mean,
Now,
you're a former.
Yeah.
The thing that struck me about that incident to start with was the scale of it. Now, you're a former police officer.
Yeah.
Would that be a reasonable response? The other thing,
Well, right.
we didn't.
Well, let's
I mean,
unpack
where are
it.
the trials of these kids? They supposedly there was arrests made and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
Yeah. Well,
but we haven't had any perp walks or orange jumpsuits.
yeah. Okay. Well, let's think about. Let's unpack this, right? So, yeah, if you've got a citywide, well, you've got allegedly 50 odd kids, or when I say kids, they're probably not kids. They're probably young adults, stroke, late teenagers, that kind of thing. So you're speaking men and women basically having a riot. They're probably of a certain ilk. I'm not going to go into that. So the place is kicking off. You've issued a citywide alert. You're going to get all the cars attending. Now, this is America, right? So the cars are either going to be single or double crewed at max. So if you've got 40 cars, 50 cars, you've only got between 50 and 70 cops. So if you've got 50 people kicking off in the mall, you need two, and I went through this the other night on the other channel, but you need 2 cops for every arrest you make. And when you arrest someone, you lose 2 cops because they've got to then take them away. Or you got to wait for the meat wagon to arrive and pile them into that and, shake them off. But then you've still got, those cops have still got to go back and book them at some point. It takes ages to unpack these things. Now, if you remember the miners' strike in this country, where we had something like 1,500 miners striking, and we had like
Fair point.
300 or 400 cops against them, and people were saying, we don't have that many cops. That's the army that's in there, and it wasn't the army. It was all cops, because I was there. I was part of the miners' strike. I was on the front lines at Hunterston. I arrested a miner, So, and the thing is, you didn't want to arrest too many people, because every time you arrested someone, you lost 2 cops. So that was 2 off your line, So these things, and this is what it happens in London as well during the riots. You see a lot of people getting struck or pushed away or beaten up, even dare I say it. But that's why, because if you start arresting people, you end up losing too many off your line. And if you lose too many off your line, you can't hold the position,
Yeah, no, I get it. And I've actually been looking forward to talking to you about this because of your police experience.
Yeah.
And admittedly, the UK and US have different policing cultures, but it's also, if I don't know, there's just something that there's something weird about the incident itself. But there's
why would aliens go shopping in Miami?
Well, yeah, I mean, if they're going to pop up anywhere, why would it be a shopping mall?
Yeah.
Is it just happen to be an accidental opening of some interdimensional portal, and these aliens all
Popped out.
started pouring out, a la like Avengers or something?
Like the guys, those green guys, and what was the Fifth Element? Remember the one in the Fifth Element with the big guns, the big green guys, and they just start shooting everything. That would be mental, wouldn't it? Or was there some kind of viral marketing scam that went completely wrong? Is that what happened? I mean, you don't know, and everybody's going, shh, don't tell anyone. We'll just keep this on the lowdown because it didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to.
Yeah,
It could be anything.
It absolutely, and a couple of initial sort of slightly hysterical videos about like.
Well, see, there's the thing, mate. There's the thing. Everybody's got a scrying tablet. Okay.
Yeah.
So where's the video? Where's the video of the aliens?
Yeah, but then the counter argument to that is, if you're hoofing it away from a 10-foot alien that looks like it's about to eat you and your friends, you're not exactly going to be filming it now, are you?
I hear what you're saying, right? But you're not accounting for the stupidity of some people. And secondly, we even get sometimes we get video of active shooters.
And also the prospect of hits on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah. Think of the clicks I'd get for up in here.
Yeah. I mean, the kind of stupid things that people do to get a few likes on social media. I mean, there was the ice bucket challenge to start with. So you would think that someone, but then I don't know. I've heard all sorts of crazy stories about Men in Black. Apparently, after the whole alien incident, the men in Black went round and they neuralized everybody and took all of the video footage.
They've been there for like 5 days. It'd be like a Harry Potter thing. Oh, we're just going to have to erase everyone's memory in the city.
Yeah. But then also, when you think about some of the crazy stuff that's actually happening in the world, there are arguments that suggest that there's potentially forces out there who would like nothing more than to have lots of distractions to keep people not thinking about the fact that we've got a certain situation in Eastern Europe, we've got situations in the Middle East. I don't want to start going into too much detail about that stuff, but there's plenty of things happening in the world that the powers that be would probably really like it if we weren't thinking about.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, one has to ask why then keep telling us about them? If you don't want us to think about them, don't tell us about them, because as you probably suspect, there are 122 current wars ongoing in this world, right? And we only really hear about 2 of them. Sometimes you hear about the Saudis and the Yemenis. Sometimes you hear about the Chinese and the Uyghurs.
The Yemenis had sorted it out.
Well, they thought they had.
Well, no, obviously since the whole Gaza thing, but
yeah, but I think it gone Pete Tong again.
Well, I mean, the Yemenis held those guys out for what, 7 years?
Yeah.
But now we've got. I mean, because apparently, while we're talking, the unspeakable ones that run the country are supposedly in a powwow about launching some sort of attack on the Houthis. So,
yeah, I know, because of the attacks on ships and things.
But I mean, going back to Miami, the point being that there are plenty of things that a good old alien story gets tongues wagging on social media. The tongues that are wagging about aliens on social media are not going to be wagging about other worse things.
The other thing is, it doesn't even need to be a distraction, because the way the FBI is funded, they need something to happen like every 6 to 8 weeks in order to keep their funding up.
But it's also, you've got Homeland Security too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got more and more organizations that are reliant on more and more things happening. So it sometimes gets to the point where these organizations benefit from things happening.
And also, I mean, there's there's potential police overreaction. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
also if it's kids
American
with
police
sticks.
overreact. Surely not.
Well, the thing is, if you've got kids with sticks and not kids with guns, then the police just can't just go in and shoot everybody, as
No, they
American
can't.
police are inclined to do. So then you would potentially need a larger police presence because you have loads of out of shape, unfit Miami police officers that are having to tackle probably much fitter,
Yeah.
stronger kids,
Yeah,
for
they
lack
are
of a better word.
jacked up, probably. Spencer actually brings one up in the chat. He says, could it have been a distraction from the Hunter Biden court case? There seems to be a distraction news story when a Biden is on the hook for something. Well, you say that. You say that, Spencer. However, one has to then question, why would Hunter make things worse for himself by doing the antics that he does, like coming in late and then walking out as soon as someone questions him, you know? So
Well,
Hunter
it
never...
wasn't just someone, it was Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she was probably gonna
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I've found hilarious about the Hunter thing was the reporter asking him what type of crack he liked to smoke.
Do you think that was real?
Well, I don't know, but I actually I didn't think there were multiple. Is there a strawberry flavor?
No. Well, the thing was, the first time I saw the video, he didn't seem to react. But then I saw another video and he turned his head, and I thought, hold on a minute, is this real? Has somebody been at it?
Well, this is part of the whole thing we're discussing behind Miami, is how much of this is real, how much of it is theater, how much of it is a distraction.
Yeah.
And then Beats and Tapes talking about the jellyfish UFO. I mean, we've actually had we've had that jellyfish UFO story, and we've had the Miami UFO story. And we still haven't had our alien invasions. So.
I know. And Shalini saying, look what happened in Camberwell the other night, you know?
Absolutely.
With sticks and stones.
Although Camberwell, that's kind of, I mean, unfortunately, that's kids getting murdered in London. It wasn't, I mean, we had the riots years ago.
Yeah.
That spread through London, which, again, this is the problem with all of these news stories, and anything that comes out, any stories like this that come out, you have to look at it from every single direction that you can.
Yeah.
Because
you have to look at it from Brazil.
And I mean, as much as I think that an alien invasion would break up the monotony of the death cult that we have running the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I would consider an invasion by either aliens or Russians of the UK at this point to be a rescue mission.
Oh, I think
honest.
I think a Russian invasion definitely would be a rescue mission. Anyway, let's have a little look at this video that you sent me today, Ed, from Brazil.
Oh, well,
yeah, right.
Você consegue captar as vibrações. Vem até nós. Ou não vem à noite.
Mano, pior que mexe esquisito demais.
Ele parece, sabe aquele lance de índio?
Sasquatch é grande.
Aquele movimento de índio, com arco e flecha. É o movimento dele. Mas é interessante.
So these meant to be 10-foot tall aliens on top of a hill.
Did you see the tweet from Peter Crouch?
No,
Peter
no,
Crouch,
I didn't.
it's one of these celebrities put out a tweet. I think it was him. Let me see if I can find it quickly. He posted, "We were on a family holiday. Please respect our privacy at this time." If you go to Peter, is at Peter Crouch on Twitter, and it's his first, it's top tweet. It's hilarious. Because that's I don't know. I mean,
so did you see? Do you see that video? It looks like either two hikers standing on top of the hill with walking sticks, or if those are indeed 10-foot high aliens, then they've got sticks attached to their arms and people are moving their arms with the sticks.
I struggle with either explanation. I think that there's, I mean, if it's 10-foot aliens, what exactly are they doing on a hillside?
And where's the scale? See, the problem is, how do you tell? I mean, somebody's standing on top of a hill. How do you tell how high he is?
Exactly. When you've got
Nothing
a
to measure
camera
it against.
zooming in,
Yeah.
you've got no sense of scale or perspective. Because I mean that grassy thing he's standing in front of, I mean that's.
And the thing is, what kind of cameras are they using? Are they still using their 1983 Nokias? Because
Well, no,
I've never seen a phone
if it's a
so
mobile
bad.
phone zooming,
Well, yeah,
then
no, it's all digital. I know it's crap.
you would get a washed out image like that if it's an electronic zoom. I mean, even a telephoto lens, you'd have to have a very, very high quality camera and have it on a tripod as well. Because
Oh, you're making excuses for them.
I'm not making excuses. I'm trying to understand what we're looking at, and I'm not seeing aliens. I have to say, I just it's yeah. I don't see how those are aliens, and if they are aliens, what are they doing on the hillside in Brazil, and where did they go? Where did they come from? Where did they go? If there was some sort of unidentified aerial something or other that picked them up, why wasn't there any footage of that? It's just a random. I mean, it could just be two basketball players. I mean, there are people that are. I mean, there are people out there that are pretty huge. I don't know. I mean, it's one has to.
Have you ever? Let's go down a little mini rabbit hole just now. Have you ever looked at a thing on YouTube called Mud Fossil University?
No.
I encourage you to do so. Right? There's a guy called Roger Sturm or something like that, or Stark or something like that. It's funny. It's funny, but it's not. It's like he seems to think everything's organic, and he seems to think that there were giant animals and creatures and things, and part of the landscape is their body parts and them, you know.
What, like those things that look like old, ancient, gigantic tree stumps.
Yeah, stuff like
different
that.
Parts of the world.
Oh, he's got an explanation for almost everything, right?
Or the giants. I mean,
yeah, but right. So that's it, and he's got one. He's got one where he said, you know, there's 1,000-foot tall human, 1,000-foot tall human, right? Now, that's a massive problem here, in that a modern day elephant's about as big as you can go with the current level of gravity and physiology, because even what is it, giraffes struggle to get enough blood up to their brain to keep them upright. They have if you think about it, you know how you get those socks and things for after you've had operations, or when you go on long flights to prevent DVTs. Yeah. That's what a giraffe's skin's like. It's super tight on its neck, so as it doesn't blow its neck out with the pressure in the arteries that are pumping the blood up to its brain. And so giraffes and elephants are probably a bit as big as you can get, which causes massive issues when it comes to things like giants, right? Because
giant humans.
Yeah, but giant humans, when you're a giant, everything changes with the square law, right? So
yeah, but how? I mean, when you say giant, what sort of size are we talking about? Because when I'm talking about giant humans, I'm talking about, I don't know, 3 meters.
Yeah, but if you go
3.5 meters.
Well, 3 meters is what, 18 feet? No, sorry, 15 feet. Yeah. Okay, so double the size. Double the size is quarter of the ability of your muscle to do the same work. As you get bigger, you get weaker. That's why when you're in a fight, you always pick on the big guy.
Well, but that's only because the internal organs and stuff aren't. I mean, if we're talking about actual giants, one would expect that their physiology inside was much larger as well.
No,
I mean, they'd have much larger hearts and everything else.
Yeah, that might be the case, but the muscle strength is kind of limited. That's the problem. And this is
But then also, how do you explain something like a brontosaurus?
Exactly. You can't. And the current gravity that we have, a brontosaurus couldn't keep its head up. It just couldn't do it. Especially with the bone structures that you've got. There's a limit to the amount of muscle that you can pack onto bone. So there's big problems here. And when someone gets, it's like the inverse square law when it comes to seeing things far away. You know, the further away you go, the weaker the light gets. For every 3 meters, you've quartered the light. That's why the sky's dark and not full of light. Because if you didn't have the inverse square law, the sky would be white all the time, wouldn't it? Because of all the light coming from all the different stars.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So the same thing happens with growing a body. And that's why people that are like 7 foot tall, and you get that occasionally, but people that are 7 foot tall, in fact, I think once you're over 6'4", your lifespan is usually shortened. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So you think about it, a 12 to 15 feet human is going to be struggling to pick themselves out of bed, never mind, take on David.
So what are you getting at? Are you suggesting that at some point in the past, well, there's a few explanations. Number one, it's all nonsense. Number two, at some point in the past, gravity was different.
Gravity had to be different.
Because when you look at if we take the example of the brontosaurus, if we're saying that gravity is an issue for a creature the size of a brontosaurus, then that suggests either two things: either one, there were no brontosauruses around and it was all made up by archaeologists, or number two, the planet's gravity isn't a static thing.
Gravity
at some point in the past, gravity
had to be weaker. It had to be weaker because even a denser atmosphere wouldn't account for the size of a brontosaurus. Now you think about a blue whale. A blue whale's about 100 feet long. Okay, a brontosaurus was up to 165 feet long. Right.
Okay, so we're basically challenging Newtonian physics here because according to, and I'm down with that. I mean, I'm
grief, he's gone again. What happened there?
What?
You disappeared. Everything went black.
Oh,
you said I'm down with that, and then everything went black and silent.
Weird.
Oh, you must have been getting censored. You're on the watch list as well. Well done, mate. You've achieved it.
Yeah, I feel like I've arrived.
Yeah,
he's
arrived.
I mean, so essentially, the current explanation behind gravity is that it's essentially down to the Earth's rotation, as far as I know. That centrifugal force is keeping us.
No, well, right.
The surface of the planet.
Right, hold on. Well, the gravity not to do with the rotation. Gravity's got to do with the mass. So you've got.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not a physicist.
I'm not a great fan of gravity as a force because I think it could all be electromagnetic. Now, if there was something that was mucking about with the electromagnetic spectrum, that's a possibility. That you could then reduce. If you're reducing the amount of force that everything's being attracted by, I don't know. I mean, as you say, I'm not a physicist either, although I do have some qualifications in it. But it's just it's a problem.
Well,
it's a big problem. That's the thing.
I saw a really interesting video about it on YouTube that was claiming that gravity's got nothing to do with mass or anything. That it's relative density. Of the density of,
was this a flat Earth one?
Well, no, it wasn't a flat Earth one. It was the person demonstrated it by floating an anvil in a vat of mercury.
Yep. Okay.
And if you have a big vat of mercury, an anvil will actually float on that because of the relative density of the mercury in the anvil.
Yeah.
And I can't claim to understand it, but
It must have been some size of vat of mercury.
Yeah, no, it was like a small bathtub full of mercury, and they floated the anvil in it, which, as you do, I don't know how one gets one's hands on that amount of mercury, but
I wouldn't even know how to get an anvil.
So I mean, but going back to this Brazil video,
yeah,
to me this feels like someone trying to like piggyback off the Miami thing.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Peru. Remember the Peru aliens? What became of them? You remember?
Ones?
Remember the aliens in Peru? And they were all freaking out that there was a village in Peru that was inundated with aliens, and they were shooting at them and everything. You know, I
remember that.
Yeah, and then it just died a death, and then the same thing happened in Mexico, and then was there not the people in the back gardens in New Mexico and things like that? So what happened? Or Vegas? What happened to What happened to all these things? They just disappear again. They're just fluff pieces for the mainstream media, aren't they?
Or social media. This is the problem with the world today, is that the information that comes in, you don't. I mean, we've got mainstream media kind of making it up as they go along, but it's like back in the day, you'd have the obviously fake UFO videos where someone was trying to sell videos or make a name for themselves or whatever. And we've now got that on steroids because all the kids want to be TikTok influencers. And there's no faster way of drumming up large amounts of views on TikTok than to post a video claiming to be of an alien. Or post a video of a police response to a riot.
I know.
Or some sort of incident and then drum that up. I mean,
it's like,
I don't know.
You really,
it's a difficult one.
You really can't believe anything that you hear, and these days, can you even believe half of what you see?
With the state of AI, no, certainly
not. Tricky, isn't it?
I mean, certainly not pictures, because I mean, like photographs are so easy to manipulate in Photoshop that even I can do it. And video is much more complicated, but we're getting to the point where, I mean, I've had text-to-speech companies wanting to sell products to me in a professional capacity. And there was one company that came to us, and they can, with about 30 seconds of someone's voice, they can create a perfect text-to-speech replica of that person's voice, and they can make you say absolutely anything that you want.
Even Scottish people?
Literally anybody, as far as I know.
11!
And I mean, the number... no, let's not go down. That's, yes, I don't know if people have seen that one, but it's it's a funny video that's been doing the rounds on social media of why voice activation is not going to work in Scotland.
It doesn't work in Scotland. It still doesn't work in Scotland. It's ridiculous. I mean, I've tried dictating to Google and Microsoft and all that, and it's getting better, but it's still. I mean, look at Hamza. So you know how I do the Hamzas. So I'll take in the video, I'll put it in the DaVinci, I'll transcribe it, I'll read it all, and then I'll come up with some crap that completely refutes what he's saying because I'm making him tell the truth. And in fact, someone actually accused me of making him sound smarter than he is the other day. Guilty as charged. But
that's not difficult with you.
But when he was talking about Bibi Netanyahu, right? The transcription came out as Nathan Yahoo. And, actually, I'd picked up on that before the transcription. I thought, he's not saying Netanyahu, he's saying Netanyahu. The man's a complete imbecile. I bet he thinks his name is Netanyahu.
Netanyahu. Yeah, the less said about him, the better.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've had a good evening. I don't know about you. Have enjoyed this.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. Just
Is there anything else you want to
about-
bring up, mate?
no, not that I can think of.
When's your next holiday to the Red Sea?
Oh, I haven't booked one yet. I'm going to get through January, and it's
Well,
either going to be before the summer or after the summer.
Do you has it been affected by the ongoing conflict?
Basically the flights. I mean, German airlines have cancelled all their flights to Sharm el Sheikh.
Oh, right, okay.
And I noticed when I was there in November that it was, especially in Dahab town, it was super quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, normally all the restaurants are buzzing, and there's loads of like English people and Dutch people and Germans and Russians and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was either locals or people from other Arab countries like Qatar and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
There was a Kuwaiti freediving competition at the Blue Hole, but yeah, it was noticeable. And I mean, to be honest, I kind of liked it because the flight was half full. But
Yeah.
the airlines aren't going to keep running flights out there if the flights are only half full.
And they'll be frightened because if one goes down, accidentally, that's your airline gone. Look what happened
They'd
to
struggle. I mean, the security in
Yeah.
Sharm el Sheikh is unbelievable. I mean, even when you're driving from Dahab, because Dahab's about an hour north of Sharm,
Yeah.
and when you drive back in, any traffic coming in from the desert gets scanned. The whole vehicle goes into a giant X-ray machine.
bloody hell. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and then once you get to the airport, my luggage, they scan your suitcases before you're even allowed anywhere near the airport itself. And then once your bags are taken off you, your hand luggage is scanned twice before you get on the plane. And then if you're unlucky at the departure gate, the Egyptian police are doing a random screening, and you end up getting scanned again.
I thought you were going to say you got a little surprise.
No, fortunately not.
Can you just bend over, Mr. Ed? Can you bend over and just see if you can touch your toes?
No, fortunately none of that. Oh dear. No body cavity searches, fortunately.
Jolly good. Right.
Cool.
Well, it's been
fun.
it's been good for me, Ed. I've really enjoyed it.
It's been great for me. We'll do it again next week if you like.
Yeah, I think we should. And it's been great for you.